Hi, this is Dr. Rami. Today I'm going to talk about aligning metaverse with telecommunication activities. First, allow me to introduce myself. I'm an international subject matter expert in AI and future management tools. Work closely with international AI and future management tools organizations around the world. I'm the only consultant who work in the Global AI Index, have three registered patents and inventions in technology. Work closely in country transformation level with different countries around the world, such as Japan, UAE, KSA, Denmark, German, and some others. Developing different solutions in metaverse, such as municipality, space authority, Ministry of Health, economic development, policing and military departments, some commercial shops. Awarded as the most influential consultants in the Middle East for implementing AI and future management tools. Now we're gonna talk about our journey today. We're gonna talk about what does the metaverse do, how the value flows through the metaverse and telecom industry, who's building the metaverse, and the decentralized multiverse. How metaverse affecting the telecom industry, and how the metaverse gonna change the business model of the telecommunication industry. We need to know, guys, that the interest in metaverse has exploded recently. For example, Google search for metaverse skyrocketed to 7,200% last year. Metaverse online gaming platforms such as Roblox reported a hit over 55 million users, a daily users, and a daily active users in February 2022. Meta committed to more than $10 billion into its reality labs and into the metaverse related hardware, such as the VR goggle, the AR goggle, and some others. Microsoft said they are planning to invest $9 million as an acquisition of gaming companies around the world. All these things will provide a building block for this particular technology to accelerate its implementation and effect on different pillars, industries around the world. Yeah, this booming interest has also made it difficult to separate the hype from reality. This has always been the case since the advent of the internet, or indeed all technology innovations. And this is what always let people think and expect from new technology. We go through periods of heightening excitement about what is possible from metaverse and other technology and how it may evolve and more. It's hard today to avoid thinking back to the early stages when we were using uh, in a very unusual way the internet and the knowledge in the internet. However, it's also worth it to remember that while the first dot-com boom resulted in the disappearance of scores of companies, the internet itself only become a digital ambiguity for all our business models and all our industries. That's what we need to understand, guys. Why all these interests that came along from big companies around the world to this particular technology? This particular technology is part of the future management tools, which is the wave two in the AI and FMT hypes in the world. We need to know first, to start with, what does the metaverse do? And what is the metaverse? We already explained it in our previous session, but today we're going to talk about bringing together people, process, data, and things, either it's in reality or in virtual existence, to make a network connection more relevant and valuable than ever before. turning information into actions that creates a new set of capabilities, a new set of competencies, a richer experience, and unprecedented economic opportunities for our businesses and for telecommunication industry for sure. How this kind of technology gonna change the competencies of individuals? How the countries will utilize such technology in the current stagflation time of the whole world? These are a very important questions and very important concerns. So we need to understand that building a value from this technology for our industry is the main pillar to achieve the ultimate goals required to be implemented in our industry. So it's a collective virtual space created by the convergence of virtual enhanced physical reality and physical persistence virtual space, including the sum of all virtual worlds, augmented reality, and the internet, all together in one place with the support of new technologies such as edge computing and cloud intelligence, internet, digital pillars components, and other virtual pillar components such as VR goggles and some others. This kind of technology will let us understand how pillars gonna collide to result a new set of technology for us. For example, if we can talk about colliding the physical pillar or our physical world, our tangible world with the digital world, the internet world, we're gonna have a cyber physical system that will interact simultaneously with each other to achieve for us the best analytical information that will support our decision. But this is not the case anymore. We are trying to build, as we said, a richer experience for our clients. So we are trying to collide the digital world with the virtual world, which will change the mindset of and DNA of our organization and industries, and which will result the metaverse technology. So whenever we have the digital information colliding with the virtual existence of this information, we gonna result what we call it the metaverse. Okay, now what about colliding the physical world with the virtual world? What we gonna have? We get if for example, if we'll be able to support our physical world with a set of informations, graphs, diagrams that will support our or augment our decision making. We're gonna call it augmented reality now. Now, guys, what if we collide the three pillars together? We're gonna reach something called the multiverse. And this is the optimal result from implementing this technology in particular, achieving the multiverse for our industry. This is exactly where we're gonna reach in a way or another once we collide the physical, digital, and virtual pillar. Now, let's start thinking about this colliding process, how it's going to take place, and why it's taking place. Now, the physical, virtual, digital colliding together will allow the organization to reach something called the AI and FMT tool purpose. The AI and FMT tool purpose. What we mean by that means that whenever we want to implement the metaverse into our telecommunication industry, we need to identify the tool purpose. Why we are using this metaverse, how we gonna use it. And usually when you want to structure this purpose, you use the same guidelines and rules you used before for developing your own vision. Now, such purpose will allow us to measure the effect and the impact on our telecommunication industry, and will help us to reach another level of growth using the colliding of digital pillar and virtual pillar, which we call it the exponential growth. Usually, Achieving such exponential growth would means many things, such as adding a new set of services, adding a new set of workflows, adding a new set of products, or adding three together, which will allow us to exponentially, as a telecommunication company, growth in terms of revenue and in terms of products. And that's what we call it, the GMP, or the gross metaverse products. Now, to achieve such exponential growth, we need different sets of guidelines. We need to have a staff on demand to manage this metaverse world. We need to have a community and crowd around this metaverse journey or life that we build for our telecommunication. A set of algorithm that will always make sure we achieve a set of objectives, such as protecting the identity of the users, manage the identities, ensure the security for any transaction that taking place, analyze such transaction whenever it happens in the metaverse environment. All these things gonna be a collide by the metaverse, or an intersection between the metaverse and the other future management tools. We need to leverage our assets into the metaverse, and the way we're gonna leverage these assets gonna be according to certain guidelines. For sure, there is no metaverse experience without a high level of engagement from our stakeholders. So we need to have a certain stakeholder engagement strategy, or tactical strategy, tactical engagements that will take our experience into a next level. That's from one perspective. If we want to look to the other most very important perspective, the managerial and governance arm of the experience, we're gonna talk about highly graphical experience with a good interface, a dashboard that will show us the results we have from this experience, an experimentation team that will always try to leverage and improve, enhance, optimize the overall experience for our metaverse service, a proper autonomy for our workflow, for our services, for our product, and re-engineering these set of new services into our metaverse in a way that will serve different kind of stakeholders. Don't forget, you are aligning and colliding physical, digital, and virtual world together, which will, which must have a social impact on the social media platforms, on the virtual platforms, different metaverse virtual platforms, and on the physical world itself. And that's one of the most important factors that can be measured and affect the level of GMP, or a gross metaverse product. To build all this, guys, we need to build different layers in our experience. We'll start from the top to bottom, discussing the 10 main layers for our technology, starting from the infrastructure and business enablers, which consisted of our 5G, our Wi-Fi 6, or what probably will reach 6G very, very soon as well. On the same hand, we need to empower a set of enablers, starting from our payment gateways that will be utilized during the metaverse experience, the identity security and identity management that we're going to have during our journey, the governance for such experience, and the governance can be managed through four main pillars: the level of augmented decision making, the operationalization, the structure and measures, and the stakeholder communication. You can't manage the experience of metaverse without these main four pillars. The next layer gonna be the human interface. How we gonna reach a proper human interface? What kind of tools we gonna use? Our role as a telecommunication will be to deliver such technology for to be able to use this interface, such through some wearables, some are smart glasses, and some other tools. Decentralization, the next layer. When we start talking about the flow of information and identity, when we have some kind of more complex metaverse experience, which we'll have edge computing, the blockchain, all connected, or CBDC payment, all will be connected on the in the decentralization layer. Now, as a telecommunication industry, are we able to provide these kind of technologies as a service, or we might provide these tools as a service? And this is another important question that we need to discuss and analyze. Spatial economy, when we talk about the VR, XR, AR, geospatial mapping, and some other tools that will provide such service, we need to provide it as a telecommunication industry to foster the transformation and to enhance the utilization of our metaverse journey or experience. The creator economy, are we going to have our own tools and assets, market, workflows that will make our stakeholders life easier and will help them to buy and sell different kind of market sets or different kind of assets that will be utilized in their own metaverse shop, for example. um, Discovery, do we have a clear redirect ad network in our metaverse? Do we have a proper rating mechanism for the experience? Do we have our own agents in our metaverse experience? This is another very important and crucial question that we need to build as a layer of our metaverse. The last pillar is the experience, where we're gonna build our gaming shops, our shopping malls, our different kind of services that will be provided as a part of the experience for the metaverse in the telecommunication journey for a particular telecommunication company. Now, how are we gonna create this value, and how this value will flow through the metaverse for the telecommunication industry? Start by selling bundles of VR, XR, AR devices and connectivity to services to the consumers. And this human interface tools will be essential and a very cash cow point for us. To the operators who will have to unlock value from these devices by adapting a E2E or end-to-end device lifecycle management approach. Uh, uh, Operators can also invest in these device innovation as well as execution of key levers to drive profitability, such as securitization or e-commerce or the insurance for such tools or innovative tools. Um, uh, the metaverse will require a huge amount of computing power and computing capabilities for real-time rendering and AI computing capabilities and competencies. The requirement for the underlying computational power are hundred of times higher than what we have today. Giving such raise in computing requirement and in edge computing will be another cash cow pillar for the telecommunication industry and will be an essential building block in the metaverse for the telecommunication industry. Now, don't forget, guys, that in the future, when millions of people are having a continuous virtual experience in the real time, uh, it's going to be very important to have such decentralization of services and store all the resources involved at one time, which will help us to have some kind of a new direct data platform to boost the revenue from our metaverse journey. Guys, security, privacy, the digital footprint is one of the most and crucial topics that we as a telecommunication industry need to consider when we build our metaverse journey for our clients. Uh, It's a concern uh, for all kind of stakeholders, our digital footprint and the integrity of their personal data. Interestingly, the operator have a unique advantages here to address these concerns, since they tend to be more trusted by consumers as data custodians compared to other type of TMT providers. The most important part, many management of such virtual words will become more and more sophisticated, and we need always as operators to think about leveraging the customer relationship in such experience, and to manage the identity. And we need to have our own identity management experts as the metaverse taking shapes these days, and as the development of metaverse platform keep revolving. Just to summarize, so we have six main benefits and we have six main roles in the metaverse: human interface tools, lead connectivity providers, optimize AI computing capabilities, enhance AI and direct data platform to boost the revenue. And we shouldn't forget here that the direct data platform is the higher level than smart big data, origin of security and privacy, and develop metaverse platform. um, that's the main roles, as many companies are launching their own metaverse platforms, and the success is expected to be depending on the level of drawings, the level of designs, the level of assets involved in such journey. As many subscribers you have, and the way you're gonna optimize the number of subscribers is another key role that will be contributing to your company GMP. The key will be creating interesting themed experience and events that will make every day users spend more time and new experiences, as well as offering customized service for businesses and for consumers, for our stakeholders. Will take your metaverse platform to another level, and gradually combining a series of large and small virtual worlds based on our real activities will take us to a superior virtual world managed by a telecommunication company or operator in a particular country. Now, how we gonna achieve these six rules? How we gonna build them? In order to build them, we need to develop a value-focused strategy through something called the digital connectivity, in which we connecting people to software service, and we connect the products to consumers. And this is very crucial part in which we identify what kind of service we're gonna have in the metaverse and what kind of process we're gonna have in our metaverse. The linkage between them gonna be our workflow as an operator in the metaverse environment. The second phase gonna be and it's gonna take around another 6 months, is test, learn and adapt, and where we're gonna achieve the uh, digital re-engineering, uh, where we're gonna centralize or have the data centric DNA, where we're gonna have some kind of digital twinning and cognitive digital twinning in this part. And this is very crucial part of optimizing the value in metaverse, when you have the cognitive digital twin in your operation. The last part will be prepared the metaverse to be scaled via GMP, and this is gonna be through the operationalization. And by the way, guys, in the operationalization, supported by a proper infrastructure, either for the cognitive digital twin or for the metaverse, gonna have a huge and impactful benefits. And here where we call the magic to happens. So through these three steps, we're gonna implement and develop our metaverse for telecommunication industry, and we call it the triple six theory. And I explained the details of this theory in my book. The first, just to summarize it, the first 6 months we're gonna develop a value focused strategy. If we accelerate this process, it's gonna be finished in 1 to 2 months. Then in other 6 months, we're gonna start testing, learning, and adapting the environment that we are building, which aligned with the metaverse strategy in general. And then we're gonna prepare the scale for the GMP in order to take the operationalization of our service to another level. In order to form a proper strategy, we need to connect whatever we have on our strategic map into a value map. This value map will move whatever service, workflow, and processes we have in our organization into a factual value in the metaverse. So we start by scorecarding the new activities in the metaverse to build our strategic map. Then we align it into through the value chain into our main business model in the value map. And here we're gonna identify what the value driver from having the metaverse in the telecommunication industries, what's the performance drivers, and how it's gonna affect our performance as a telecommunication, cost drivers, how it's going to affect our cost either by minimizing certain set of services or by offering a new set of services. These three things can be achieved and measured with a proper value realization map, which will be measured by the business process indicators, the critical success factors, and the key performance indicators. All these things will be part of our dashboarding, and where we can have the information requirements of the metaverse, and which will always draw for us how we gonna develop and optimize our metaverse experience and journey for our stakeholders. All these things will be managed in the scaling phase, which is the third phase in our previous slide, and where we're gonna operationalize with our cockpit, the A to F team, which is a team specialized in the transformation and innovation of the organization to create the value, or to reflect the value on our organization, and to measure the GMP for our organization. Then we end up by re-identifying a new set of values for the metaverse, which will be reflected through the expansion level of metaverse for our stakeholders, and the number of new contributors and shops assets, in terms of shops assets, level of utilization for the edge computing, and we're gonna consider here the 7 or the 10 main layers that we already discussed in our previous slides. This cycle will keep revolving to make our metaverse colliding smoothly with our digital pillar, in order at a certain extent to reach the multiverse, and having a proper experience that will be diversified between three main things: the augmented information available in the physical world for our clients, the efficiency and effectiveness of our cognitive digital twin of our telecommunication industry, and the benefit level or the GMP level of our metaverse service that we are offering. In order to implement metaverse in our organization or in our telecom industry in a proper way, we need always to take certain guidelines. As we know, telecommunication industry is one of the critical industries. So we need always, whenever we add a block to our overall DNA, we need always to make sure that this block is fit 100% and aligned 100% with our type of workflows and processes. In order to do that, we need to use AIMA, Artificial Intelligence Maturity Assessment, which provided by the International Artificial Intelligence Driving License, American company. Uh, and we need to implement such maturity to make sure that metaverse will fit according to our telecommunication or according to the operator priorities or transformation map. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a set of observations in our strategy and a set of observation in our finance and infrastructure, again on our procedure agility, and to be aligned with the next generation of operation excellence. It's going to be asking set of question about our business enablers. All these pillars will go into to this mind. It's a AI extreme machine learning mind that's aligned with the leading practice, or what we call it the SAP, similar industry practice, and with other NDCs around the world, to give us three main outcomes: our ready strategy for metaverse, our corrective action need to be taken in our telecom industry or in the operator company, in order to be able to align whatever they have in their processes and workflows and teams with the metaverse, and the prioritization of tools. Do we need to implement any other tools from the future management tools that will support the metaverse in our organization? This is a very important question that needs to take place in our organization before we kick off our own metaverse journey or experience for our stakeholders. So you can consider this tool as a risk mitigation tool, and as an integrator between the eight future management tools together with the metaverse, in order to achieve the optimal results that can be gained from metaverse. Now, metaverse values for telecom industry. This is a very important factors to be considered in order to be able to measure the effect of this collide between the three pillars, and in order to let us be able to measure the GMP for the operator or for the telecom industry in general. From as a technology revolution, we need to understand that this technology will redefine the customer experience or customer happiness, as we call it in UAE, during the implementation of metaverse for different organizations. The gaming tool, the way we advertise, gonna change the consumer or the stakeholder behavior and moral acceptance to certain set of activities that will take a place in our metaverse. Don't forget that having this collide between the virtual world and digital world will create a new environmental revolution. So we'll conduct our meeting and conferences and metaverse, and we'll have a better level of interaction, of utilizing technology, of maybe teleportation between sites, and having if we'll have a cognitive digital twin that is part of the metaverse, we'll be able to show our case and check the experimentation of our discussion during the sessions. Uh, this will take our stakeholders into a new level of acceptance, to a new line of services, such as renting a conference room in the metaverse, and marketing a conference, or delivering a certain service for our client. Maybe pay the bills in the metaverse with a special discount, or check a special offers in the metaverse. All these things will take our stakeholders into a new level of acceptance, which will lead to a new economical revolution. And this is why people are using such technology, AI and future management tools, or even the metaverse, to have a new sales lines, or a new advertisement environment, a new a tool to train their people to minimize the cost and keeping the consistency of performance and the level of gradual development for their organization, keeping into mind that they are minimizing the cost of such a thing. This will help us to reach what we call it the multiverse. Okay, and this will help us to enhance something we call it a new term, which we call it the omniverse, in which we gonna manage our multi our omni channels. Our omni channels gonna be aligned with the different three pillars that we mentioned, and it will be aligned with our multiverse and with our metaverse. All these things will be a new factor to a reality revolution. So the experience gonna be different. The operator role gonna be different. The service role and type will be different. So this is gonna be a new reality revolution. All these main four factors and revolutions, if you allow me to consider it as a revolution, will be part of measuring the GMP effect of the metaverse into our operator or into the telecommunication industry in general. Now, we have a very important question that we always need to be considered. Who's building the metaverse and decentralized multiverse? Who's doing that? Why we are doing this? As you can see, the stakeholders of or the metaverse market landscape, starting from the experience, we call it the experience like Hologate or or the PlayStation Studio, or people who build the experience for such thing, are considered one of the most important pillars in building such experience. Facebook or Meta are part of the experience company, the discovery company, who build and help us to discover the factors behind the multiverse, the economy, companies such as Roblox, Epic Games, or Unreal Engine, Unity, Adobe now is into this again, Buildbox, one of the good companies who are trying to build such a thing. All these are considered as the economic layer and a good sample of economic layer for our organization. Spatial computing, again, we'll go to the Autodesk, to Unreal Engine, to OpenAI, Google AI, all the supported pillars that will build a proper XR or AR or VR experience for our organization. Decentralized services that will come from Avalabs, from Microsoft, IBM, Data, Rayleigh, Bulkdot, and all these companies that decentralizing the layer of technology. Then don't will not forget for sure Polygon, in which we are using blockchain to build such decentralized experience for a metaverse service. Human interface, where we have the Oculus, the Vive, Samsung, what they are doing, and Neuralink, in which we connecting, in which we are having a platform to connect the human mind with the experience of the metaverse to affect the experience in general. And what's taking place now in Snapchat and Unreal to achieve such experience. The last thing, where we have the infrastructure and Nvidia, Azure, AWS, definitely Google Cloud, Qualcomm. All these companies are trying and working hard to build the infrastructure and to provide the infrastructure. I believe T-Mobile is doing a good job in and providing the infrastructure, and it can be considered as a benchmark line for providing infrastructure services to the metaverse. Now, this is a suggested system architecture of the metaverse. It can be aligned, it can be optimized more. This is initial, so we'll have main four components, and where we're gonna have the user front end, the back end, as you all know, and the admin front end. These three main pillars will always manage the query with the database and file server around the direct data platform, and will provide a set of conversation and transfer with the content management, that the 3D converters and different manual arrangements and uploads. Now on the left side, you're gonna have the map of data, the 3D models, videos, a very various content where we can provide shops for the users. If we go on the top right, the admin panel will always have the WebGL and the nodes, statistics, including statistics, user management, and builder. The back end will have for sure the web server and the container. On the left side, the user front will have the expression data memory, including the avatar editing, the avatar creation, the avatar management and communication, the different, if you allow me to say, different customized user interface that will help us to deal in the metaverse life in general. And this considered as one of the main component for the system architecture to be part of the metaverse. Now let's discuss how the metaverse affecting the telecom business model, and this is very important factor to be considered in our presentation. As you know, there is always a rapid expansion of use cases in the public sector. For instance, Dubai Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, earlier this year, they established the Metaverse headquarters on the sandbox, the South Korean experience with the sandbox as well. And we are trying to make the first regulatories around the world aligned between whatever the South Korean are doing and whatever we are doing in Dubai, to have the first regulation of this emerging digital space. Dubai Metaverse strategy estimate the metaverse will add around 4 billion to its economy, and supported by 42,000 jobs by 2030, which is a new scale that will deal with the stagflation challenges that will face the whole world, or the whole physical world now, we can say. In Seoul, they announced 5 years Metaverse Seoul basic plan. I recommend all of you guys to go through this plan. They will begin by creating a virtual Seoul city hall or plaza, and a civil center for the different services. The CEO of Seoul Smart City and Policy Peru, I believe his name is Jong Soo. Yes, Jong Soo told us the objectives was providing a civic freedom, participation, engagement, and communication in the Seoul civic city. And I believe it's gonna be a good point to be considered for the operators, and they can provide such a thing for UAE and for other countries by providing a metaverse civic environment for participation, engagement, and communication in different services for different emirates, for example, in UAE, or for different zones in UAE. For sure, we know that the telecommunication industry come under the factor between 5 to 10 in terms of the effect and the adaptation level of metaverse and the daily activities, and in terms of the budget required, or the budgeting optimization that will take place through utilizing and investing in uh, uh, the metaverse. Now we need to know that in order to be part of such experience, the telecom operators are not new to such challenges, and that this is for sure. Along with the big technology players, telco were among the first ecosystems players to start exploring the metaverse, and this is a fact. in some developed markets and in some well-developed operators, they have already started to delve into metaverse-based platforms that combine multiple technology, especially wherever the 5G took place in these countries, uh, to bring the internet into life, into a new virtual physical connection. This exploration, however, needs to expand beyond technology proof of concepts or proof of values, and cover the full spectrum of telcos organization, from its business model to its reimagining the type of its technologies, stacks, and assets base to enable them on their journey. We recommend telco companies explore different changes and develop these key dimensions of changes to better identify first and maximize this opportunity gradually to the metaverse, allow me to say, promises and roles for telecommunication. Starting from these dimensions can be starting from the strategy of the organization, the operation of the organization, and the technology of the organization. And when we talk about the strategy, operation, and technology, for sure, we are talking about the productivity level and the efficiency level of this organization, which will come along with a clear value proposition, and we already talked about that, with adequate business model, and we talked about how to change this business model with the guidelines of existence of AI tools such as AMA, optimal finance and funding for different drivers, and how the driver is going to take place. We almost covered this part. Then we talked about the operating model and the fit for purpose, and we talked about the corrective action required for such a service, the competencies and agile culture that will take a place for such services, how it's going to take a place, why it's taking place in general, mitigating the risk, and this is very important factor for organizations in general, and the right partnership that will always will help organizations in general to um, conclude the right service that will be part of their workflow in the metaverse, capable regulations that will protect several things, such we discussed: the identity management, the security, the payment gateways, and others. For sure, when we talk about technology, we are not talking about the physical user experience interfaces, as we said in the layers and the 10 layering. We are talking about the assets that will be in the market with, for example, NFT privilege to keep the rights of the person whoever got the or bought from the operator the asset. And for sure, a scalable platform that will be easy to develop and implement in different platform and different organizations. Now, don't forget that all these things, one it's going to be part of the DNA of the operator, or part of the DNA for the organization itself, should be managed by a proper AI and FMT, and you can see that on the center left of this graph, and we'll always try to align these technologies together, as these future management tools will be revolving on wave 3 very soon. So we need to have it and manage the core and edge of operators, starting from partners, the human resource, finance, procurement, logistics, operation, resources, customer relationship, service and product, channels and customers, and with the stakeholders, to have a value propositions for these two. In order to do such a thing, we need to align our current services and our current supportive unit to minimize the cost for such experience and optimize the workflow for such experience. And that's require a critical analysis from a telco business forces on the metaverse, starting from the technology, regulation, workforce, and environment. All these things at the center upper of such graph will be acting to minimize the cost structure of the metaverse. Um, the other part where we're gonna talk about the core services, or the enhanced service level, and the type of services that we're gonna provide in metaverse, where we're gonna generate a new stream of revenues, where we're gonna add values to our existing client and stakeholders. We're gonna discuss the revenue structure for such channel, for such customer, and for such a relationship that gonna take place from globalization, demographic, and economic consumer factors and drivers, different drivers for teleco. Aligning these two parts together will always build a value proposition that can be measured and can be optimized and can be managed and controlled in our metaverse through a certain indicators such as the GMP, in addition to some other indicators such as cigar compound annual growth rate, and some other factors that will always take a place and will be part of the value proposition process for our metaverse. Will not forget that our value proposition always will consider the 10 layers or the 7 main layers, in addition to the 3 layers that we added on the bottom of the pyramid, and we already discussed and talked about it earlier. For telcos, we need to unlock the full spectrum of opportunities for such technology, and we must build our traditional communication service, and we need to be considered as a traditional communication service provider for the businesses and for the individuals, in order to expand such capabilities and services for operators and telecom industries in the metaverse in particular. Just to wrap up, we talked about the colliding of the 3 pillars, and we talked about the importance of colliding for these 3 pillars. We talked about our optimal purpose and reaching the multiverse in general. Then we start talking about the effect of different layers and why we have each and every layer in our organization and what we need to extract from each and every layer. Then we talked and summarized the role and allow me to say the roles and responsibilities for telco and operators in metaverse. Then we talk about how to leverage such assets. We talk about the positioning of metaverse in terms of providers around the world, and now we wrapped it up with how to implement such technology with respect to the required guidelines. And we talked about AMA and how we implement AMA and the role of AMA into implementing metaverse to protect the DNA of telco and operators. And then we talked about the core and edge efforts to enhance the overall drivers and streams of core and edge services for the operators in general. Hope you enjoyed the metaverse and telecom industry, and I'll be more than happy to receive your questions at any time. Thanks for your time, and I would like to thank TDRA Virtual Academy for such opportunity, and I would like to indeed draw our appreciation for this fantastic virtual academy that will help people to understand the effect of metaverse and how we can implement metaverse for different industries and for telco in particular. Thanks for your time, and see you.